Hi everyone, and welcome to AIQ, where we talk about modern workplace and Microsoft updates. My name is David Campbell, I'm the product manager at WaveNet, and today we're going to be talking around updates from Microsoft perspective to companies over 300 users. We're going to be talking about changes to the enterprise agreements, we're going to be talking about funding and incentives, quite a lot on. I'm joined today by Michael Sittig and Ella Goodhart, and we're going to be talking about EA to start off with and the volume-based discounts. Michael, tell us a bit more about what EA customers need to know.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of changes with regards to the Microsoft volume-based discounts, levels A, B, C, D. Microsoft has stopped all discount levels for online services. So all of the larger customers who are used to getting a nice big discount because of their size and their volume, they're going to be paying less price from now on for online services.
Essentially what we're seeing is Microsoft bringing the level A, B, C and D pricing on par with the pricing that we see through the CSP or NCE program. So we're seeing organisations are seeing increases of around 12 to 15% across their online services. That was announced last year, impacting customers renewing from November the 1st, 2025. So yeah, we're seeing Microsoft really enforcing the transition of customers from enterprise agreements over into the Cloud Solution Partner Program.
So even large enterprise customers are going to be paying the same price as traditional CSP customers?
Yeah, exactly. They're all going to be paying exactly the same price. So for a lot of those customers, they might want to look at CSP because it might actually be more cost effective in some ways.
Generally speaking, the enterprise agreement is still going to exist. It's just going to exist for much larger organisations with more bespoke agreements created for them with kind of much larger bulk discounts attached to them.
Okay, so a customer that was sort of traditionally used to the idea of EA agreements and are now going to have to experiment with CSP partners like WaveNet, what sort of advantages can we offer them?
Yeah, great question, really. So we as a first and foremost, can offer custom pricing to customers. There are different ways to procure licensing through the CSP program, which differs quite significantly than how you would pay for licensing through the enterprise agreement. So we can explore those options with customers. And secondly, there's a lot of value that partners like WaveNet provide as well.
Yeah, Ella and I stay on top of all of the Microsoft licensing changes, as many of them as there are. Yeah, if Microsoft didn't make life complicated, then we wouldn't have jobs. So yeah, but we stay on top of all of the licensing changes so that our customers don't really need to.
Okay, so that's the EA changes. There was also some changes around E3 and Defender for O365 Plan 2. Michael, do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Sure. So Microsoft Intune capabilities have been beefed up in the standard suites. Several abilities that used to require purchasing Intune Suite or add-ons are being folded into the existing licenses. For example, Remote Help and Advanced Analytics are coming into the base Intune for E3, and E5 is gaining things like Endpoint Privilege Management and Cloud Certificate Authority as part of the package. These were previously separate paid tools. Now they're included.
So quite a lot of changes. We've spoken about increases in EA. Let's talk about funding and incentives. What options do customers have there?
Yeah, that's a great question. Microsoft puts a lot of investment into its customer funding and promotions programs, really. There's a lot of workshops available out there for customers that are looking to explore these newer technologies. I think simply put, if you are looking to invest more money in the Microsoft technology stack, Microsoft will invest money into helping you along that journey, whether it's in the kind of pre-sales and proof of concept stage, or a little bit around the delivery as well.
Yeah, because I suppose an expensive way of doing it is just looking at the licensing without looking at deployment and funding and incentive offers available to us. So talk to us about the promos, Michael.
Yeah, so we can do all sorts of things with Microsoft with regards to promotions. When it comes to security assessments, or if you're looking to do a Copilot readiness assessment or data modernization, doesn't really matter what sort of area you're looking at. Ask us if there's any promotions or Microsoft funding available for it. Typically, you can get between 2.5 and 5K per particular assessment or engagement. And if we're helping to do a larger implementation, we can get up to 45K, depending on what that particular engagement is.
And it's really, really quick and easy as well for us to actually go and verify whether a customer is eligible for funded workshops or any particular funding if it's around an Azure project. It's really, very quick and easy for us to find that out.
Yeah, so definitely always ask us about the promotions.
Okay, so I think that you've really highlighted the value of the CSP, and looking at an EA license agreement just with your current licensing partner, you should be looking at from the CSP side of things as well, so that we can leverage things like incentive programs, funding programs, and actually make sure that you're using the licensing that you're paying for.
Yeah, and when it comes to licensing, you will still get those volume discounts for the licensing aspects. So definitely continue to look at EA because there will still be discount levels there. But when you're looking at any of your cloud or online services, definitely look at CSP.
You mentioned something that was really interesting there, David, actually. So we spoke about around the funding and the promotion side of it, but we didn't really touch on the licensing and how we help customers manage and navigate that transition from enterprise agreements into CSP, because it is very different the way that they procure. In enterprise agreement, they're very familiar with paying up front for the year and doing what we would refer to as true-ups, whereas with CSP, it's a lot more flexible in how they can license their environment. But something that we're really keen on when we're speaking to customers around that EA renewal window is taking a more data-driven approach to how they actually do things, and something that we have access to. It's a really powerful analysis tool that aggregates Microsoft Graph API data and pulls it into a Power BI dashboard, which is really easy to view and helps to surface information around what a customer is actually doing within their Microsoft tenants. We look at things such as underutilization of licenses, so that may be where we help a customer to drive better adoption of specific products, or we look at areas where customers are licensing users that are no longer with the organisation. So they're actually paying for licenses for people that actually don't need them. So that goes above and beyond just looking at unit cost prices, because we're actually driving optimisation in the overall way that they do things and license their Microsoft estate.
This tool, which we've called Streamline, not only helps on the licensing aspects, but also on the Azure and cloud aspects. So it'll help us to get a view of your estate and help optimize the actual structure and architecture of the estate.
Yeah, making use of things such as specifically within the Azure there that you mentioned there, Mike, looking at things such as Azure reservations and hybrid use benefit as well, which is where it makes sense for customers to purchase the Windows Server licensing separately from the cost of the VM. So we take it out the cost of the VM, out of a pay-as-you-go model, and we procure those licenses perhaps under a CSP, and that actually yields better savings than just paying for them on a pay-as-you-go basis.
Alternatively, if you're already buying other licenses under an EA and it helps you to meet one of those particular discount bands, then you can purchase Windows Server licenses with software assurance under the enterprise agreement. And then through that software assurance benefit of hybrid use, use those within your Azure environment.
I suppose one way we can look at this is just the price increases in EA to CSP, but probably we should be looking at how best we utilize our licenses, how best we use incentives and funding, and how best we actually deploy the software and make sure we're not actually paying for software we're not using.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's a really good way of optimizing your license and working with a CSP partner like WaveNet who can help you with that transition.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks very much for joining us. So we hope you enjoyed that update. We do these updates fairly regularly. So if you'd like to find out more about what WaveNet's doing as far as AIQ goes and Microsoft updates, please look at our videos or please make contact with us. Thanks for watching.